Welcome to the Moody's Tire and Auto Football Extra.
Visit us at Moody's Tire for all your tire and automotive needs.
Stop by and see us at 1600 Columbia Avenue.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Moody's Tire and Auto Football Extra. I'm Joe Williams, along with video journalist Charles Pulliam. We're both from the Williamson Herald. And, Charles, we were busy last week. Man, there were a lot of great games.
The great game, though. Brentwood, Centennial, overtime finish, came down to the final play of overtime. Can't really beat that. That was quite the finish.
The two teams have fought before, Centennial getting their first win last year over the Bruins, and Brentwood really didn't want to give up a second one. Had the opportunity. Coach Mike Woodward says, we've got the courage, we got the confidence, we're going for two.
And that's exactly what Coach Rector said he would do as well. 24-23 your final in overtime, going for two. Jalen Marsalis, huge game, knocked loose. Final play, that was, oh man, everyone running on the field. It was a state tournament style game for sure.
Marsalis, by the way, sets a school record with 196 receiving yards on 10 catches in that ball game. It leaves Centennial at 3-0, Brentwood at 0-3. Now down the road, Independence and Summit got hooked up, neighborhood rivals, and I stutter a bit because I'd love to have seen this ball game. Independence kind of forced their will, 48-7 over a bit of a struggling Summit team.
And that's the Eagles offense just had things going. 7 plays, 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and opening 7 minutes. Summit really struggling, only able to get 14 points on the board through their first 3 games and being outscored very heavily on those as well. So Summit looking for some answers still, and I don't know if they're going to find it next week as well.
The Spartans got kind of a late start with the late hiring of a coach, so that explains it to us. I know that coaching staff is not going to accept that as an excuse anymore.
Oh, I know. And you're going against a really tough Independence team. Independence comes out, they're 3-0 now, looking to go to 4-0. So going against that kind of offensive power of Andrew Bunch and Nate Johnson, just those guys alone. You got Dom as well at running back. They got some real playmakers out there.
Yep, and they use them all. And that's something we're going to be able to see the rest of this season. Now, big revenge game. Brentwood Academy picks up a 21-3 win over Father Ryan. Ryan beat the Eagles last year in kind of a shock, what I called a shocking upset. Well, it wasn't an upset, but Brentwood just turned the page on them this time.
And it was really I go a lot to their offense here. I always go back to the offense. They lose their starting quarterback in their opener. They got 2 young guys filling in, and that's Swafford and Oatsville, making impact plays, but they got some ground game going in this one, and that was big. And then also a touchdown return on defense, which is huge play for that. Father Ryan just unable to get anything going.
And that's the way Brentwood likes to keep it. The Academy looking to get back into the playoffs and go a little bit deeper this year. And down the road at Franklin, well, the Rebels open up the district schedule with a big 49-13 win over Dixon County. And this was a game that I thought might be close, and that changed pretty quick.
Well, initially you were thinking that maybe Dixon County might come in here, make some noise, but no, the Franklin ground game, clicking. You got Joe Critchlow at quarterback there, but when you got Bryce Milam with the kind of night he had, along with Malik Grimes, that 2-headed monster at running back is something.
Greatest play I've seen in a long time. Grimes runs about 3 times to the corners, the edge, opens up the middle, and then Milam comes banging out of the middle of this line, and I didn't know he was that quick.
Well, that was the thing. We were looking at his legs, and they were just, it was like the cartoons there where you just couldn't even tell. Yeah, they're just turning.
65 yards, and nobody really came close to catching him. And I thought that was pretty impressive. Good news, too, for the Rebels, at least for Garrison Matthews, their senior tight end, who has now committed to play basketball at Lipscomb University, so he can get that off his mind and go back to playing football.
Well, the tight end out there, he is a versatile athlete overall. 6'4", big build, just made for college sports, and need to see him commit to basketball. I'm a basketball guy myself,
yeah.
So, you know.
You guys do hang together, don't you? All right, coming up this week, here are the big ones in the county for this particular Friday night. The big game will be here at Ravenwood. The Raptors practicing behind us, getting ready for Laverne. Now, last year, Charles, Ravenwood came into this ball game. They were a team that had gone 2-8, 3-7. There wasn't a whole lot of expectations. Will Hester comes in. Will spent 9 years at Laverne, then went to Brentwood for a couple, came here as head coach. And where I'm headed with this is they were 2-0 coming into this, and everybody's like, well, okay. They go to Laverne, they get a big overtime win, and I really think that's the game that kind of lit the fuse that sent them to their playoff run.
And really, we think they might still be riding that as well. We got the 2-0 start for the Raptors right now, but that game is the one where, like you said, it was just, man, I don't know if they're for real or not, but they made it for real out of that. That was a statement game and another opportunity for a statement here.
Very much so, and I can guarantee you the folks over at Laverne would like to stop that statement. They come in 2-1. Now, Brentwood, we talked about earlier at 0-3, has the unenviable task of having to go to Hendersonville on Friday night. The Commandos at 3-0 have a little bit of revenge on their mind. They came down to play Brentwood last year. The Bruins, big upset, pretty well manhandled them. And then Hendersonville went on to play for the title in 6A.
Well, you see, the last 3 halves for Brentwood, able to piece together quite a bit of offense, actually. So Carson Croy starting to click at quarterback, but when you got Marcellus coming off the game he's really shown that he's that go-to wideout. And it's a tough task, but if Brentwood could do it, this would be a great one for them.
This would be a good game for the Bruins to get back on that winning schedule. Now, up the road from their house anyway is Brentwood Academy, and the Eagles, after the big win, 3-0, are going to be hosting Xavier of Ohio out of Cincinnati. And let me tell you, anytime you say Xavier and Ohio and Cincinnati, you know there's a good team coming south.
And it is a monster offensive line. As the Xavier team able to knock off their rivals last week. They're 2-0 coming in here, but this offensive line was able to muster up 7+ yards a carry for their running back in the last game. This is something. They know how to push the pile, and it's going to be a tough one.
Also got a middle linebacker that's already signed with Ohio State, so you know that they're going to be a tough bunch. The Eagles need this game to make their own statement here. This could be the point where Cody White's team says, hey, watch out, Tennessee, we're back.
And that's starting with 2 young quarterbacks out there. Your Swafford at junior and Oatsville, sophomore, actually. Those 2 coming in here have been able to move the ball well, but they had a ground game going. Jacob Cretan able to have a nice ground game, got a rushing touchdown in there, and Eagles able to move the offense a little better, and this is a big one. They could go to 4-0.
Other games that we'll be watching this week here at the Williamson Herald, of course, Mount Pleasant travels up to take on BGA as the Wildcats look to put another W in the column. Centennial, 3-0. Could be a school record if they go 4-0 in their opener against Clarksville. Not sure about that, but I'm almost positive.
Deion Sanders, their running back, has just produced quite the season so far already. Able to move the piles. He's a real athlete. And then Emmanuel Hall, still unsure whether or not where his status is. He left the overtime game there with the apparent hamstring injury. And so we'll see if he's coming out there. But when you got those 2 going, those are some real playmakers.
Big boost for those guys will be the return of Terrell Dotson. Dotson coming back after a knee injury. Incredible recovery. But talked to him earlier this week. He says, yeah, I'm ready and I am anxious.
Oh, he has been itching. We've seen him on the sideline the last few weeks, and I think he wanted to play on his crutches for a while.
That kid would have. There's no doubt in my mind. Now you got Franklin going up to McGavock, and that'll be a huge game again. This is a Nashville versus Franklin battle, and don't sell Jay Gore and the guys up there short.
And Franklin coming off of a couple, really routes. They've been able to get the offensive going and everything, but this is going to be more of a test, I think, and especially on the road.
Also, if you look around the county, you've got Independence going to Beach. That maybe not as big a game as you had last year when you had 3 kids who were going to UT and 4 who were going to play in the SEC against each other. I think Indy's got a real chance to pull this off.
And they can move to 4-0 here. Indy in the midst of a giant 3-game test here, though. Because after this one, of course, they got Ravenwood, but it's at home. And then, of course, the Mid-State's best coming to town as well, Blackman. But this is one of those ones that more confidence coming. Andrew Bunch, Nate Johnson, those 2 have combined for 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. They got the connection down.
They don't beat each other to death. I think there's 4 teams in this District 11 AAA who may be able to make the playoffs. But with the system as it stands, but we'll get into that later, it's going to be hard to say. And, of course, Summit on the road at West Creek. So we'll be watching all those games and even more. All you've got to do to stay up to date on what's happening is to follow us at WilliamsonHerald.com or on Twitter at WH Sports. And you can catch it all. Charles will have full video highlights of several of these games. And, of course, we'll have stories, pictures, and details Friday evening and early Saturday morning. Do not miss the coverage that's coming your way. For Charles Pulliam, I'm Joe Williams. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Moody's Tire and Auto Football Extra.